I'm just watching the trains come in, watching the trains go out. And after I've watched all the trains come in, I watch all.
Hey there, my name is David Mays, your host for this edition of Along the Model Railroad Line, a program where we talk about the fun you have playing with trains. Obviously, I'm having some fun playing with trains. I'm going to do a little show and tell and tell you a story about this heavy duty flat car, the one you saw at the beginning of the video. Tell you the story about it, about how I built it, some little modeling techniques I came up with to kind of make it, detailed and all that. And also talk a little bit about this load that it's carrying, kind of like what's the story behind that. So, with that, I invite you to climb aboard. We'll take another trip along the Morrow Railroad line and find out if this heavy duty flat car is capable of carrying that load. All right, let me tell you the story of this flat car, what inspired it, where I got it, things I did to it. And of course, why do we need a heavy duty flat car? Well, this load may be the obvious reason. But like I said, I'll tell you about the flat car and I'll tell you about the load later. So just set that aside for now. Okay, the flat car itself is in HO scale is a model of a heavy duty flat car for carrying heavy loads, probably in the 100-ton range. This particular model was itself originally made by a company called Roco from Austria. It was marketed in the U.S. by AHM, Associated Hobby Manufacturers. You can actually look up underneath somewhere, you actually find the company label molded into the plastic. I think AHM was marketing these in back, say the late 60s up at least to the 70s, maybe in the 80s. Roco may still be making these cars. We don't know right now, but as far as if you want to get one, they're still available. Probably eBay, train shows, places like that. Like I said, the prototypes were used for carrying heavy loads. This particular model is supposed to be based on a prototype that was built for the United States Department of Defense for carrying things like tanks and other heavy vehicles from, say, the early to mid 1950s. But other railroads did have these cars, again, for use in carrying, machinery loads, things like that. The car itself, I started out as just a bare bones body. Kind of started looking like this, this body, like that. Just nothing fancy about it. All the parts have been removed from it. I found it in a junk box at a train show several years ago, and I went ahead and bought it. Cost me maybe $1, and brought it home with it. Well, I'm going to turn this into a heavy-duty flat car, kind of like what it is, but kind of upgrade some of the details, do some other things. Uh, what I ended up doing, first thing I did was, like I said, it was like this, no weight in it, so I had an extra weight from somewhere like that, and just kind of just plopped it in there, glued it down with some Walther's glue or some other contact cement. There you go. And then proceeded to redetail the rest of the body. Had to replace the stirrup steps on the corners. The originals had broken off. And I had some extras from a boxcar kit I recently built. Just glued them on there. Fit in just fine. Made some changes in the underbelly. Like I said, mounted some new heavy-duty trucks. These are so-called Buckeye trucks, six-wheel trucks. These are a pair of Athearn Buckeye trucks that Athearn uses on things like their wrecking crane, things like that. I had to redo the bolster where the trucks mount. Again, looking at this one, you kind of see it right there. But I think I had to actually just go and remove that to carve it away because you got this big hole there. You had to otherwise fill in and re-drill. Plus the mounting holes on the Athearn trucks didn't match up with the bolsters. So like I said, I just redid it. Um, Also added some more weight here in the middle. That had again back here had to remove all this detailing here in the middle. I mean, nobody can see it in normal circumstances, so not a big deal. And then I had some sheet lead that I could mount in there. A quick story how I got that was around that same time, maybe sometime before, we had the roof here at the house remade, had new shingles put in, and the workmen removed these lead caps that are on all the vents in the roof. and we're just got, and those things are made out of sheet lead, and they were just gonna throw them away. So I just kind of went and grabbed a couple, and still have them. But when I was decided, work on this car, I went ahead and dug one of those out and just cut some pieces of it, again to mount here on the flat car body. Again, there's 2 or 3 layers there. Again, just kind of glue them in using contact cement. Then came back and painted it. In this case, I just used some gloss black enamel I had laying around, but still works. Go ahead and kind of seal the lead. I mean, I was being careful with working lead, make sure I keep my hands clean. The couplers are Katie number 5s, mounted in their own coupler box. Just went back and just drilled a hole into the body and tapped it and used some plastic 2-56 screws that Katie provides in some of their kits. And then went back, on top, just kind of cut it, got some flush cutter, just cut it away and filed on it a little bit so it wasn't sticking out to the roof or to the decking. Also, I had gone in and filled in these, there's a gap right here. Here, look at this car. If you can see there, this is a old Tyco flat car. Got the truck mounted couplers, and you have to have some little gap right there so the coupler can swing back and forth when the car's going around curves and things like that. And I went ahead and filled those gaps in with some bits of plastic. I mean, if you look close, you can still see where the pieces are, but in practice, just looks better. And what else to do here? As far as the body, again, I then painted it with some polyscale boxcar red, or Flowquill boxcar red again from probably a spray can. The decals are from Champ decals. The reporting marks and lettering, I kind of just pieced those together. I got a letter from my freelance model railroad that I call the Central of Texas. So this car's number is COFT number 7899. The number itself kind of something I more or less picked out random. The reporting, the dimensional data, I did a little trick there. I couldn't, like I said, this is a heavy-duty flat car made for carrying heavy loads, and I couldn't find any dimensional data decals that would match this type of car. So what I'd end up doing is taking some data decals that were meant for a approximately 50-foot long, 70-ton capacity flat car. And so if you got in there and looked at with a magnifying glass, you realize the data is wrong. It's like underestimating that load capacity of the car. But I figure unless I get somebody gets in there with a magnifying glass and start taking a close look at it, like that, nobody's really going to notice. So, now the big thing that I did on this car, fix it up, is what I did to the decking. Yeah, get that car on there, make sure it's rolling right. There you go. Yes. There we go. Got it. Okay. I mean, again, like I say, car when I got looked like that. No decking or anything. It probably originally had a plastic deck similar to what this car has. So what I did was I went ahead and said I'm going to make a wooden deck. A couple things I did. I already had glued this new weight on there. Well, what I did next, let's use this as an example. I came back with a piece of typing paper and cut a strip out of that and just glued it on top of that weight using some super glue. And then after it's dried, I came back with some strip wood and started gluing strips of wood on there. The wood itself, I originally, found some strip wood that was appropriate width, did a little math, figured out how many pieces I needed, and then, took a piece of paper towel, dipped in some grimy black paint, and just kind of pulled the strip wood through the paint like that to paint the wood and leave some streaks in it, like give it a weathered effect. And then, after doing the appropriate math, grabbed my handy Northwest short line chopper and used that to cut up the pieces of wood I needed. And I figured how many I ended up cutting up. It was a lot. And then came back and then glued the strip wood on top of the weight using just some wood glue. Just kind of take the piece of strip wood, take a toothpick, dip it in the glue, just put a little dab on there and just stick it on there. And then just kept repeating myself till I had the whole deck done. As a matter, I think I started on the ends and started kind of working my way towards the center. So when I got to the center, I had some pieces of wood that weren't wouldn't quite fit. They were too wide. So I just kind of went back and just shaved them off a little bit. Probably 3 or 4 pieces. So unless you look real close, you already can't tell that some of the pieces are maybe a little narrower than the others. And then to finish the car, replaced the brake wheel. Keep that out of the way. Replaced the brake wheel, got one out of a Carl scale cast brass brake wheel, mounted on a little piece of bronze wire, mounted it on a little bit of plastic sticking out. That's where the original brake wheel was. And then after that, the car is basically done. But then I had to come up with a load for it. And this is what the load I like to carry around on it. I don't know if that's some kind of crate carrying a secret government project or a dragon, taking a load to the next fantasy science fiction convention or what it might be. The load itself came from a laser cut wood kit. Again, bought at a train show several years ago. Some guy had a bunch of these available. I guess he made them himself and was selling them. Don't know if you can still get them or not. Actually, pretty easy to do. Just cut pop the pieces out of the sheet they were cut from. Just glue it all together. Pretty much, put it together just as it is. I made one minor change. I did put this little cross brace on here. Same thing on there, because to me, otherwise that space was just wide open, looked kind of bare, like it needs something. Easiest thing to do, just take a piece of strip wood, cut it to shape, and just glue it on there, so it looks like some additional bracing. So, and like I said, just for the fun, I'll run this car around the layout. I'll just let that be carrying that load. Kind of look at it and say, what is that? So, all righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little trip along the Marl River line, where I had a chance to tell you a story about this heavy-duty flat car and its interesting load. Doing the video and looking over the car and thinking about what I originally did to make it, I found myself being inspired to work on some other flat car bodies that I have. I got this box with like a dozen or more of these old Tyco flat car bodies, and you look at them, they actually got some nice detailing on them. Just may replace the trucks, redo the decking, give it a good paint job, end up with a nice looking model, which of course could also be the subject of future video. So in the meantime, been getting some good feedback about the program. Appreciate that. And of course, the routine: like, subscribe, leave comments. Tell your friends about it. Get some more people watching these programs. If you check over here, if it ain't here yet, it should be here in a minute. A link to an earlier video. I invite you to check that out. And with that, again, thank you for watching, and stay tuned, and we'll climb aboard, take another trip along the Marl Railroad line. In the meantime, you have a good day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Trains go out, and watching the sweethearts kiss, seeing them come and go, I get a burning yearning just